Welcome to inspectAR sub-region calibration tutorial. This is the preferred calibration method for boards which are larger than 20 centimeters in size. In this calibration method, position your camera at the height best suited to your work. If the full board is in view at this height, please see our full board calibration method since this is better suited and will be much quicker to complete. First, check the silhouette of the silkscreen and solder mask provided and verify that this matches the side of the board which you plan to calibrate. If it does not, flip to the other side of the board with the flip button. Now you must plan which area to calibrate with the board coverage map. This map gives an overview of the board and displays an adjustable viewport which represents the area you will calibrate. There are some requirements to be aware of when you select a region on your board to calibrate. First, there must be at least 3 pads in each quadrant of the viewport to use as fiducials for your calibration to provide points of interest for inspectAR to track. Second, the calibration region also must not interfere with any other regions you have calibrated, but we'll discuss this more later. Now, you'll be presented with an overlay representing the copper pads on the board. Using your mouse, click and drag this overlay until it aligns with the pads presented. Using the scroll wheel, scale the overlays so that they match the size of the real-world board as close as possible. You do not need to be exact when doing this, as any errors will be eliminated in the next step. Click and drag the AR overlay of the pad to match its corresponding pad on the PCB. As you do this, you'll notice the pad alignment window populate with a pad. This window will help you keep track of all the pads which you are calibrating. If you need to move it, just click and drag the edges. Once you are satisfied that the location of the AR overlay pad matches the PCB pad, click Accept on the pad adjustment window and move on to the next pad. You will need to repeat this process 3 times for each quadrant of the calibration region you have selected, unless you have selected fewer pads during the planning stage. Once you have calibrated all 12 pads, evaluate the alignment of the copper pads overlay you are shown. If you are satisfied with it, click Accept and move on. Otherwise, click the Edit button and you can add more pads to each quadrant. If you have added more pads and are still not satisfied with the alignment, you may need to repeat the calibration area with a smaller calibration region to be successful. Now, you will return to the board coverage map. To the left of the board coverage map, you will see a list of all the regions you have calibrated within the calibration file. If you move the viewport around now, either by translating it or expanding it, you will notice that the region you have just calibrated changes color on a scale from green to yellow to red. This color corresponds to a 1 to 3 star rating right above the list of calibration regions. This informs you about the experience you will have if you use inspectAR on that area of the board. If you move the viewport window to overlap with other previous regions, you'll notice the Calibrate button is not pressable and a message is presented saying that there is too much overlap to calibrate.